I do not get this. The two things that confuse me most. I read a brilliant article about it this weekend. You know that I'm eternally baffled by deference and forelock tugging. The idea that anybody in this country with an IQ in double figures could think that Jacob Rees-Mogg is cleverer than them is just absolutely hilarious to me, and also heartbreaking at the same time, because you are limiting your own horizons. You're putting shackles on your own children, their ambition and their aspiration. The idea that you should know your place is the single most toxic lesson that you can teach a child. And I'll tell you this, that they don't teach their children to know their place. And the second thing is this desire to feel persecuted, this absolute hunger for victimhood. Look, there's some people over there and they're attacking you. What are they doing? Oh, they're running the European Union like the Fourth Reich and they really wish you harm. Okay. Any proof? No. Don't ask for facts. Just feel persecuted. And now it's statues. They're coming to take down your statues. They're going to attack your culture and your stately homes. How are they going to do that? By telling you about things that actually happened. Well, we can't have any. I'll clutch my purse. And they sell it. They sell you your own victimhood. And I don't know. I wish I could turn my conscience off and do it, because my kids need shoes. But especially now they're going back to school. Hallelujah. Long may that continue. Safely. But it works. I don't understand why people hand over their hard-earned cash and indeed their consciences so happily and so freely to people who are selling nothing but false victimhood and false persecution. Best summed up probably in that despicable poster that Nigel Farage unveiled shortly before Joe Cox was assassinated by a white supremacist terrorist shouting Britain first. That man was terrified of things that don't exist. Things that were, in fact, depicted, non-existent things depicted on that poster. All these people that wish you harm. Where are they? Oh, I found one. And that means we must hate 6 million people. Okay. Why so hungry? Why so desperate? And listen, generalisations are always a little bit loose. Of course they are. I remember a fella not long ago was furious with me for suggesting that everybody who had a problem with Marcus Rashford had voted for Brexit, which clearly isn't true. There'll be plenty of people out there. I'm bored of Brexit in some context. I'm bored of having to say, some of my best friends voted for it, some of my family members voted for it, and they aren't racists. But I haven't met a racist who didn't. Maybe I should get out more. But you just look at the generalisations here, and you can be fairly confident that people who think that their culture is somehow under attack, or people who think you're not allowed to say your English in this country anymore without getting arrested, people who are trying to build political careers on campaigning to be allowed to say things that they're currently not allowed to say, despite not having yet addressed the question of how they're going to tell you about the things they're not allowed to say if they're currently not allowed to say the things that they're campaigning to suddenly be allowed to say. I'm fairly confident that almost all of them will fit very neatly into one side of the Meghan Markle conversation. They'll have a huge problem with her and they won't really be able to tell you why. But if you suggest you know why, they'll be almost as angry with you for pointing out their racism as they are with her for being biracial.
Why is Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex, so widely disliked? Her name dominates headlines, often in a negative light. But have you ever wondered why so many people feel this way about someone they've never met? Headlines and comments build a powerful image, one we often accept as truth. Are these feelings based on facts or on years of negative press? My goal isn't to tell you what to think, but to encourage you to question. Let's begin. On my radio show, I often ask callers who dislike Meghan. What has she actually done? The response is usually silence or vague claims like she's manipulative or a narcissist. When pressed for specifics, most can't provide any. Instead, they repeat headlines and opinions absorbed from tabloids and online comments. Their dislike isn't rooted in evidence, but in a media-constructed character. This pattern is consistent and revealing. It shows the power of relentless negative coverage to shape public perception. When challenged, the foundation of these opinions crumbles. This is the core issue we need to examine. After I started asking this question, listeners shared similar stories. Sarah from Manchester asked her dad why he disliked Meghan. He couldn't name a single thing, just a feeling. David compared it to a song you hear so often, you start singing along without knowing why. The media's narrative about Meghan is that song. People repeat it without questioning its source. Many listeners realized they too held negative views without real reasons. This self-awareness is the first step to breaking the cycle of media-driven bias. These stories aren't just anecdotes, they reveal a widespread social phenomenon. The dislike for Meghan is often not a reasoned conclusion, but a socially constructed prejudice. It's built by a relentless media campaign. Yet, when people pause to reflect, they see through it. That gives me hope. People are capable of critical thinking. Sometimes they just need a prompt. To understand the real Meghan Markle, we must look past the tabloid caricature. Before meeting Prince Harry, she was a successful actress, starring in Suits for 7 seasons. She was financially independent and built her own career. Meghan was also a dedicated humanitarian, working with World Vision and the UN and advocating for gender equality. She campaigned for change from a young age, even getting a sexist TV ad pulled at age 11. As a royal, she became a patron of charities and co-created a best-selling charity cookbook. These are the actions of someone committed to making a difference. Yet the media often ignored or twisted her achievements, focusing on trivialities or painting her as a villain. The real Meghan, successful, compassionate, driven, was erased in favour of a one-dimensional character. Why? Because a villain sells more papers than a competent, kind woman. Human emotions play a huge role here. Envy and jealousy are often at the heart of unexplained dislike. Meghan is beautiful, successful, and married to a prince. For some, this triggers insecurities and resentment. The media feeds this by providing negative stories, validating those feelings. It's not just about her marriage, it's about her audacity. An American, a divorcee, a woman of mixed race, entering the British establishment and refusing to be silent. Her confidence and independence challenged expectations. This is classic tall poppy syndrome. Society tries to cut down those who stand out. Meghan's success and visibility made her a target. The dislike grew not from her actions, but from uncomfortable feelings she inspired, feelings the press exploited. Instead of celebrating her achievements, society tried to cut her down. The media understood this psychology and used it to their advantage. The result? A fertile ground for negativity. The British press's treatment of Meghan is a masterclass in media manipulation. From headlines like "Almost Straight Outta Compton" to bizarre stories about avocados, the goal was to create a sense of otherness and scandal. The same actions were praised in others but condemned in Meghan. Anonymous palace sources fueled endless negative stories, repeated until they felt like fact. This wasn't journalism. It was character assassination. The drip feed of negativity changed public perception. Hundreds of stories, day after day, made people believe there must be truth behind the smoke. But the smoke was manufactured. The media created a feedback loop. Negative stories led to public dislike, which justified more negative stories. Meghan was trapped in a narrative she couldn't control. The press built a villain, and the public bought it. Some media figures built entire careers on criticising Meghan Markle. Piers Morgan is the most notorious, using his platforms to attack her relentlessly. This isn't reasoned critique. It's performance for an audience hungry for outrage. Attacking Meghan generates clicks, ratings and headlines. It keeps critics relevant and profitable. Their constant attacks legitimize public hatred, making abuse seem acceptable. Online trolls feel empowered when they see their views echoed by mainstream figures. This professional criticism normalizes bullying and cruelty. It shifts public conversation from real issues to personal vendettas. These critics aren't truth-tellers. They're orchestrators of a hate campaign. We must ask, what kind of society rewards this behavior? Imagine being Meghan, falling in love, joining a famous family, and having your life turned upside down by relentless scrutiny. Your family is harassed, your race debated, your every move criticized. Even moments of joy, like having a child, are overshadowed by attacks and judgment. When Meghan spoke about her mental health struggles, many responded with disbelief and mockery. Empathy isn't about agreeing with everything. It's about seeing someone as human. Seeing the same patterns with Meghan, Harry's instinct was to protect his family. Empathy is the ability to see the person behind the headlines. That's the least we owe each other. So, where do we go from here? Harry and Meghan are building a new life, using their platform for good. For us, the challenge is to pause before accepting every headline. Ask, who wrote this? What's their motive? Is it fact or manipulation? We must become thoughtful consumers of news, not passive recipients. This is about more than one couple. It's about the society we want to be. Do we choose gossip and cruelty or kindness and truth? The choice is ours every day in what we read, say and share. Let's look for the human behind the headline. The conversation is open to you.